What is up, everybody? Welcome to Market Wednesdays with the Inkcast. My name is Brad, otherwise known as Bradcifer. We're going to be going over these last week's post-Atlanta DLC market changes. Stay tuned. All right, so remember to please like, subscribe, comment what you're most surprised or shocked by the events of Atlanta, as well as, of course, the unfortunate news of Pixelborn shutting down, which is sure to have an impact in the next few weeks in regards to future market watches and what cards you were able to pick up before the spike, or maybe you regret one. Let's take a look at them. So first up, we have Diablo. From the newest set, Diablo is continuing to climb up in price, currently sitting around 58 or around 60 bucks for a non-foil. Foil is about $66, going up from about closer to 50 bucks previous week. Now, interesting enough, we're going to see this market price change the most for set 4 post Chicago, because Atlanta was only set 3. So there wasn't really too much of like movers and shakers. This is very much of people testing on Pixelborn. So again, that's why I allude to future changes being kind of up in the air due to Pixelborn shutting down in a few weeks. But let's go on to the next one. Diablo is to be expected. It's going to probably sit around this price. It is a legendary. It's a very, very good card in one of the top decks. Let's move on to the next one. So next we have Ursula, another green card, but this one established already from set 3 what really made Emerald stand out as an archetype and just a deck to just be feared, both in this new set coming forward and the most previous one. Still very good card, sitting at around $37, changed about an increase of only $1 or $2, but you see this just track record of like huge spike to around 50 bucks. Just about a month ago at this point. And since then, it's dipped again, come back up, and now it's on the downswing. So it's starting to slowly creep back up in these last few days. This is one that if you've been holding off on getting, might be the time to get it, because as we get further beyond set 3, we've already seen this with set 1 and some set 2 cards. These legendaries in particular will continue to go up the further we separate ourselves from the sets. So if you were on the fence about this one, maybe this is the time to pick it up. And the next other set 4 card, it's the Queen, another legendary. You're going to see a commonality here. Most of the money cards are legendaries when it comes down to it. This one's interesting. It was sitting at a decent amount for the foil a while ago. The biggest change is the foil dropped drastically from the pre-release prices. Never pre-order these, please. Please do not do that. Full sitting around $12, and we've seen about a 69 nice percent. We've seen about a 69 cent nice increase on the Queen the last few days. This is one to keep an eye on. It is a bit slow. I've been testing with this card personally. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal an item that's 3 or less to put onto the battlefield. Otherwise, the item goes into your hand. It's a very powerful effect, do not get me wrong, but the idea that it is a turn away, it's a 3 toughness, dies to things like Smash and a lot of things, as well as being 3 power, so it also dies to Medusa as well, which could impact it, but this is one to keep an eye on. Look, if you like items and stuff, maybe pick this one up for cheap before it goes up any higher. I mean, it is a 10% increase, so. Moving on, we have Perdita. Now, this is because of Atlanta, and we'll get to another card in a moment that also has to do with Atlanta. The winning deck was an Amber Amethyst deck that ran Perdita and Mufasa, and then another card as well. So Perdita is another legendary from set 3 has seen a huge spike the last few days. 50% increase just from this last week, all because the top deck played a few copies of her. When you play this character and whenever she quests, you may play a character with 2 or less cost from your discard for free. So very powerful. I'm interested to see how this one sticks around in the current meta. Is this just, a one-hit wonder because of what happened in Atlanta, or does this actually have legs? So let's take a look at the next one as well. Another one from that same list. Fairy Godmother, another legendary, a 3/4, shift 2. Whenever this character quests, your characters gain Challenger 3, and when this character is banished in a challenge, it comes back to your hand. So this is a 70% increase in change here. That's so crazy to me. And again, it's very simple. Atlanta. It's not really that hard to kind of see here. It's a really interesting card. The Shift 2 is awesome. I've been really interested in seeing this card work. I've always thought that this effect is incredibly powerful to give Challenger 3 blanket to all of your characters, as well as allowing them to come back to your hand like the Mickey from the first set for the brooms and everything. This is such a crazy effect. I'm actually really excited to see this card see play. I'm hoping you guys actually picked this one up earlier on and you're just giving yourself a good old pat on the back. But just like Perdita, we're going to have to look and see if she sticks around in future sets, or is this just, a one-hit wonder deck from Atlanta. So next up we have Alice, the 3-cost 1/4 that cares about support. This one's really not come to fruition as a playable card, and you've just seen this downward slope for the entirety of her life. And that's kind of continuing here. It's starting to creep back up a teeny bit again to 441 when it was just at about 373 just 5 days ago. I don't recall seeing any lists that were running Alice at Atlanta, but I really doubt that that's the case to cause for this spike. It might just be a couple of buyouts. It's so marginal and so minuscule that it's really hard to say what the reasoning is for this little shake up here. But it's one, maybe more support cards come out. This is potentially a powerful effect. It's just how often get her to 10. Maybe when we get more cards that can actually build upon this type of an effect, she'll get better. But for now, let's move on. Next, we have Yen Sid, a 14% increase over the last week, climbing all the way up to $16. That's a pretty good amount. Now, to be fair, though, pre-release had this card at $35 on the 12th, and it's kind of just been slowly going up, down, up, down, up, down. Now it's on the upswing again. I do think this is a card that I would wait on just a bit longer. Brooms is really cool. People want to make brooms work. It's such a fun archetype. I love it myself, but I do think it's not going to be a huge player coming up in the next set or in Chicago as well. So I do think this card's going to dip back down in price a little bit. But hey, $16 for a card that's just going to get better and better and better as we get more brooms isn't too bad at its current stance. So if you want it and you want to play brooms, you could pick it up. But for me, I'm going to wait a little bit longer and see what happens with Chicago. Okay, then of course we have Scar from set 2, a powerhouse that has seen a lot of play. And look at this change from the last few months, all the way back since set 2. This has just gone down, down, down. And then people realize, oh, this is actually a pretty good card. And it starts climbing up again. We see another dip and it's back up a little tiny bit right now. It's settling around $13. Again, as we separate ourselves further away from these older sets, these legendaries will increase in cost. This is still a pretty good card, one that Ruby can still run. But at the moment, looking at Ruby Sapphire in particular, it's kind of falling out of favor just a teeny bit. So maybe this is the time to actually pick up your Scars. I don't think it's going to dip back down to the $4 mark anytime soon, personally. I think it's probably going to stay around this price here. If not, it could increase as well. If you got a foil, by the way, that's the big thing. Look at the foil. Just a month ago was sitting around $20. It's now at $40. So congrats if you pulled off getting a foil. Another 7 cost that actually is really good in control that's kind of fallen out of favor after set 1. It's Hades. And just again, look at these changes. It's seen a 6% increase, only 40 cents. That's not too big of a deal. The big thing is the foil price is starting to go down as well. So if you want to pick up a foil, that's pretty nice. Crazy to see that a foil at one point was like all the way down here. That can't be correct. Anyway, again, it's a set 1 legendary. Set 1 legendaries are ones that I think you probably should pick up. Also, $5 for this? I don't know. This is a good card. We'll see. Maybe it's just falling out of favor too much because you don't want to ramp your opponents, especially in control mirrors and stuff like that. But hey, $5 is a pretty easy get, in my opinion, for Hades, and we'll see if he stands the test of time. We just have the wonderful trend of big finisher cards, and it's Maleficent, Monstrous Dragon. $30 for this card. Pretty consistent, actually. If you look, this line has dipped down to 22 at its lowest point and has consistently been around $30. You saw it go to 45 at one point as well, when Ruby Amethyst was like the top deck, right as we were transitioning into set 3. And of course, the foil has just been insane. The foil is actually dropping quite a bit. It peaked at 104.52. I actually own a foil of this. My first ever pack from Lorcana I opened had a foil Maleficent and a regular Elsa, the 8 cost from set 1. So I still have this bad girl. And foil, maybe you could pick one up. It's, steadily falling. I really do think with this card being incredibly strong in ramp, still seeing play today in control decks, and just being a good card as well as a set 1 legendary, it's hard to say this is going to go any lower than what it is now, especially foils. I feel like the foils are going to go right back up, but hey, this is a good one to grab. And we've seen a nice 4% increase from the last week. And that's going to be our last one for the top 10 cards. Thanks, Lorcana.gg, for supplying this wonderful graph and wonderful site that you guys have. Go check it out. Link's going to be in the description. That's going to do it for this week's Market Watch Wednesday. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.